Wait for it, and we're live. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans, it's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans and one chaos coordinator geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, first we're going to notice that we let Nick play with the scroll bar at the bottom, and he's been having lots of fun using his
Nick,
big
now got a new toy.
All right, we're going to let our guests introduce themselves, and I'm going to go in the order of the oracle known as the word alphabetizer. So don't come at me because it does what it does, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. All right, but Mr. Isaac Kraft, who are you and what do you do?
I do speculative fiction. I write fantasy and sci-fi and anything else that comes at me. Currently, I'm writing young adult fantasy, Dungeon Crawler, Dimension Hopper.
Okay. All right. Next, we have the lovely multiple personalities, sometimes known as Jenna S. Brown.
Fantastic. Hi, guys. Nice to be back. I'm Jenna S. Brown. I also write under Jenna Ray. Under Jenna Ray, I write speculative fiction, urban fantasy, science fiction. Just put out a young adult science fiction for an anthology, and I have a new one coming out in April. No, it's not April anymore. It's May. I knew it. It's out now. I have a new one coming out, and that tops off my trilogy. So I'm glad to be here.
All right. Next, we have the guru of all things scientific and fictional, Mr. Michael LaVoice.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm Michael LaVoice, author of Galaxy's Most Wanted, working on a new series that happens to feature an alien invasion, by the way. Just saying. Kind of timely. And I dabble in fantasy here and there, but mostly I stick with sci-fi, space opera, pew-pew.
So is there any truth that your middle name is Chuck and sometimes it gives you the tingles?
No.
Okay.
And I don't eat crayons either.
Yeah, I still think that's funny. I got the last package just randomly after James Ward died. It was just a box of crowns. No context, no note, no nothing. Just a 96 Crayola crowns for reasons.
It was not a shot at you, Frisbee.
I got some crayons in my fridge. I mean,
But we were
I
joking.
know what his favorite springtime drink is going to be.
Yeah, well, it's liquid
Crayon.
We should,
Crayon
Nick, you and Stabby should make like an alcoholic beverage and call it the Crown.
The Crayola. The Crayola smoothie.
The crayon.
Well, Crayola is probably trademarked, but Crown is not.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That is awesome.
Absolutely perfect.
All right. Next, we have the lovely Miss Terry K. Job, the many voices thereof.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. Glad to be back once again. Narrator, soon to be actually published author. Haha. That's exciting.
Are you going to narrate your own?
Hopefully. Well, going to be printed as in an anthology first. Book to follow eventually. Stay tuned.
I mean, if you ever, just can quit the day job and just make funny voices on the radio, you'll be okay.
Oh my God, that is the dream.
So,
as a recovering DJ, it's not as great as it's cracked up to be, let me tell you.
Oh, I still have to do my own editing. I'm well aware.
All right, and last, but certainly not least, we have Mr. William S. Frisbee Jr.
Hey, I'm William S. Frisbee Jr. By day, I work on computers, but at night and early in the morning, starting at 4, I write. My latest books is Last Marines. I also wrote Writing Military Science Fiction, Ghost of the Republic, and the Conglomerate series.
And you will have just listened to his episode where he talks about that the Last Marine series. And I thought you were going to go with by day, I work on computers, and at night, I work at a computer because, you're typing away, but you didn't take it.
Well, I have to work on other people's computers during the day. So,
all right. And since we've had you all on before, first I will tell everybody how we first found this motley crew. So we're actually all part of a top secret organization hell bent on rooting out the aliens among us. We know that at least a dozen lizard folk have landed on our shores, and we need to rout them out because humanity first, people. Humanity first.
Would you stop telling them the top secret stuff?
I'll edit that out. It'll be okay. I'll edit it out. Stabby will edit it out. She's new, our editor-in-chief, Editrix. I don't know. Do they get a special letter when it's a lady editor?
Stop it. Do you know how hard it is to edit your voice?
It's why we don't generally edit. What is that? Is that the OPSEC of truth or something?
Oh, God. He's going to frickin' everybody put your sunglasses on.
Don't look. If you don't get that reference, you're too long to be listening to this podcast. All right. With that being said, since you've all been on before, we're going to mix it up a little bit for our religion question. I want everyone to tell me their favorite zoo animal. And we're going to start at the top and work our way around. So, Terry, you get to go first.
Ooh, definitely any of the big cats.
Okay.
Lion, tiger, ocelot, they count. Or the palace cat, that really one with the big fluffy face that looks grumpy. They're adorable.
That's going to be Michael's next series. You didn't know that. It's going to be the Intergalactic Zoo to go with his other intergalactic series.
Oh no, he's following up with Space Cats.
Oh, I think Reconnoiter Press already did those anthologies. All right.
Not to mention Man Sin Wars.
Yeah. All right, Jana. What's your favorite zoo animal?
I have to stay with my girl Terry here. I like the tigers. Particularly, I like tigers here at the Hogle Zoo because they are so badly mannered. There's a big sign on them that's on the fence that says, "Don't get too close because during mating season, they may spray you." It's like, oh, well, there you have it, because they are a mating zoo and they produce baby tigers. So they have aggressive tigers, and it's always kind of fun to see people go right up to the fence and you're like, don't actually do it. I want to watch.
All right, Mr. Michael LaVoice, favorite zoo animal, sir, and don't say the Marines.
Well, Jenna just reminds me of that Robin Williams bit where he's like, they take these poor medicated animals from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, put them in the New York Zoo, which is like a reform school for zoo animals, with the lion sitting there going, roar, big freaking deal. Anyway, no, man, I got to go with my Canis lupus. We got a really nice Alaska exhibit at the Memphis Zoo, and it's loaded down with gray wolves, and they're gorgeous. I love those things. Always been my favorite critter.
Excellent answer. All right, Bill.
Tigers. No doubt about it. Tigers. I got to go with the ladies on that one.
Oh, my.
Seeing some of the artwork you post, that really shocks me.
or my call sign war cat. I don't know.
Was that your call sign when you were in the Marines?
Yeah.
Nice. Mine was not that cool. Anyway, Isaac, favorite zoo animal?
I'm going to go with the reptiles, the gator, alligators, crocodiles, things like that.
All right, panel. We just got done leaking the information that we were hunting lizard people, and now that's his favorite animal. Are we sure he's not a plant?
Nope, not sure.
Uh-oh. All right. And since it's the springtime, what is your favorite beverage for the season? Terry.
Ooh, it's boring.
My favorite animal is penguins.
You've answered already. That's why I went to the guest.
No, I haven't. Answered. I have only answered my favorite dinosaur. You're getting a little too comfortable skipping me, JR, and we're going to fight. Penguin.
Oops. Oh, that's right. When we did the zoo animal, you weren't on that podcast. Oh, that was just Nick and I. I blame Isaac because he's not near me. So if you throw things at him, I'm okay. All right. So penguins are a good answer. We'll accept that. All right. Since you're already talking, favorite beverage for the season?
Nope. Terry gets to talk because I interrupted her with penguins.
All right.
I'll hand you an extra knife to stab him with under the table. I'm boring.
Friends.
Lemonade.
Terry, we were friends. How could you do that to me?
You skip Stabby. She has the sharp things. I respect the sharp things.
All right. Jana, favorite holiday or seasonal beverage?
Okay, there's a Mexican food restaurant down the street that makes this smoothie that has whipping cream and berries and ice and a little bit of lemonade in it. and it is about the most. It's got a gazillion calories in it, so I can't have it all the time. But that is my very, very favorite. Is their Rojo drink that has all the berries on it and cream, and it's decadent and delicious. And spring and summer in Utah are hot, so it's beautiful.
So if you're listening on the podcast or you're not watching the screen, everybody but Isaac and I have been grabbing their knives that just happen to have all these blades.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. This is a cutlass. It's not a knife.
Excuse the heck out of me, sir.
And the
Depends
pen
if you're
is mightier
a
than the
normal-sized
sword.
person. I stabbed someone with a pen once. It was horrific.
There we
Oh, is
go.
that
That's what I'm
Claymore?
talking about. Now who's compensating, Nick?
All right there, He-Man. Oh, now Nick's going to get his. All right, and so it has begun. You know,
I feel Schwartz is as big as mine.
Oh, Michael.
If you do a sword and blades episode, let me know. I will join on that one too. I
You know
have
that
no
I was just getting ready to say
It's just
that
not
is
in this
going on my
room.
list. It's going on my list now.
Not even close to the only one I have. I got lots of sharp and pointy things.
All right,
Which pen
so
do you want us to be stabbed with? Which pen?
Oh, the
Which
fuzzy
pen?
purple one. It's got to be the
Pink
fuzzy
one.
purple one.
The rose.
Yeah, it's got to happen. That's got to happen. Anyway,
All
go
right.
back to the subject. Come on, JR. Keep us on track.
yeah, so Jana, seasonal beverage you said already. So Michael,
Move on.
Oh, Red Bull smoothie, man.
okay,
Respectable.
okay, all right, Michael, Bill.
Well, for breakfast, probably any hard liquor.
Like a Marine, yeah.
No, seriously, it'd be like energy drinks or something like that, or those little Forto coffee things, the coffee shots.
Nice.
Those are a good start.
There was actually talk that Coffee Bear Coffee Stabby might be doing some of those canned drinks. Yeah, so apparently the barrier to entry isn't as bad as it used to be. I think Black Rifle Coffee started doing it, and then a lot of the other vet bro coffee companies started. And so now you're starting to see more of the independent coffee retailers doing K-Cups and canned liquid beverages.
Well, these are like little tiny Forto coffee shots, and I don't have any now. I'm out, but
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
All right.
they're good.
Isaac, seasonal beverage. You're going to be all responsible and say like water or something, aren't you?
Pretty close.
Person.
Usually bottled water and coffee with milk in the afternoons.
Okay. All right, Stabby. Ooh, I see a cat. You got to unmute Stabby before you can tell us your favorite. beverage.
I was purposely being very quiet while I was making kitty noises because my dogs will try to tear down the door. I don't care what time of year it is. Coffee for breakfast. Absolutely. Yeah. I bought whole bean blueberry crumble from Coffee Brand Coffee, and I've been grinding my own beans. And then so my whole house smells like blueberries first thing in the morning.
I love it.
Awesome.
The blueberries taste like blueberries, and the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
It really does. I still can't bring myself to try the strawberry and cream coffee. That's
I passed on that one too.
For me. Yeah. Afternoon, I am a Monster and Pepsi or Dr. Pepper, whichever one we have in the house. And then come evening time, I am either mixing strawberry bubbly with Deep Eddy's lemonade vodka, or I have like a big case of White Claws. So
Nick said I couldn't have the strawberry stuff because it would hold my manhood cheapened if I drank it.
I never said that. I just said you'd be a little bitch.
All right, Nick.
It tastes like strawberry lemonade, though. So when you do the strawberry bubbly with the lemonade vodka, it tastes like a strawberry lemonade. You never know you're drinking vodka. And about 3 of these Starbucks cups in, you're sitting on the couch going, I'm not cooking tonight.
Okay. All right, Nick. You can pull us back on track. Seasonal beverage.
Why would he
seasonal
do that?
beverage? We're in spring, right?
Yeah.
So that would be if it's not bourbon, which is
It's bourbon
all
and Coke,
seasons.
right?
No, but when it starts getting a little hotter outside, I get a hankering hard for for Sprite from McDonald's.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
Why
It's
McDonald's?
carbonated. I don't know, man. The shit will charge a fucking battery, but it's amazing. I don't know. It's different than getting it like from a 2 liter or a can. I think they overcarbonate it and they mix it with something else. I don't know. But
There's something
I
to
don't know,
be
it's like-
said about the way the syrup and the carbonated water are separated, and then they mix them
Yeah.
together in that machine. It's just right. There's nothing like it. You're absolutely right.
It's like they mix it in a hadron collider, you know? It's just like I swear it would charge your cell phone if you weren't screwing up your cell phone by putting it in there. But McDonald's Sprite, and then of course I'm gonna have to get McDouble because of the salt, sweet salt. But, yeah, that's my seasonal beverage.
I wish I could drink iced coffee. I really do, but it's hot coffee all year round for me. So
The cold stuff gives me like heartburn bad. I don't know what it is.
I used to do the Starbucks milkshakes, what they call frappuccinos, but basically they're just milkshakes with a little bit of coffee flavoring. But then I looked at the calories and I'm like, holy crap, I'm drinking a Big Mac, and so I had to stop.
Might as well get the Big Mac, man, with special sauce.
Right? At least the Big Mac, there's too many jokes if I mention the protein, so we're just going to move on. I won't mention the protein, and we're going to talk instead about the topic that brought us all here. So, alien invasions. First off, do you think there's a reason that aliens might want to come?
Resources.
Coffee.
Excellent answer, Bill. You get a gold star.
All right.
A lot of the sci-fi romance is all about they need our women.
That's right. And if you're an old Bloom County fan, you know that Mars they were after our women too.
Yep.
So that was a frequent running gag. But in Galaxy's Most Wanted, I had several alien races just living here that, for various reasons, like one of them just fell in love with our culture, and they're all like pop culture junkies and the best engineers in the galaxy, and they won Area 51 in a poker game, and so they run that now. And yeah, I think more than anything else, we're probably an interstellar zoo exhibit, and I think that's why they show up. You can get resources cheap in space, man. Mine an asteroid belt, grab those big dirty snowballs. What do they call those? Comets. Yeah. And you got water. So I don't think the resources is going to matter.
They're here to harvest farts. That's why they probe. Farts.
It's a cookbook.
I mean, that's as good a reason as any, I guess.
Why else would they probe?
I think one of the real reasons they might invade would be religious reasons.
Go on.
I mean, because they don't need resources. I mean, that's more plentiful elsewhere. What would they need here? Unless they have some overriding desire to push their religion, or they've got some religious mandate. Why would you make that trip, so many light years to beat up on somebody else and take control? Unless you have some greater purpose to do so.
Well, it could be political if they were some sort of expats from their home world, whatever, and they wanted a place to start again, and they get here and it's not occupied. Because if you think if they looked and, there's just these giant lizards, we'll be okay. And then they get here and now there's a bunch of, pale skinned monkeys. Well, now we've got a problem.
That didn't work out.
No,
there was a theme in comics. The Elseworlds comics did a couple of different variations on the Kryptonians. Everybody listened to Jor-El, and they all left Krypton and came here and just took over. And it was kind of scary. They became a totalitarian regime because their own planet blew up. And then, that's a valid one. I like that one.
Okay. What about you, Isaac? What do you think?
It could be resources, but I did a short story with Corn Scribblers, Influx, Oflux, where it could be maybe they had no choice. Maybe it's not necessarily from outer space, but maybe from other dimensions where they got sent here. other possibility is they're looking for a fugitive who is here, and they have very good reason to be searching and have hostility because we're harboring him.
Okay. Interdimensional aliens. I hadn't considered that one. It's a good one. I don't know that I normally buy the resources because other than humans and the animals on the planet, I can't think of a single resource we have here that they couldn't get, like was mentioned elsewhere. Easier even. But
there was somebody, who was it? Was it Cheney and Hopper? They did Ruins of the Earth, and I think the biggest reason the aliens showed up there is because they were harvesting slave labor. And that was basically the explanation for the human diaspora across known space by the time they got to Ruins of the Galaxy.
that is
A lot of Stargate.
I was about to say that. That's what the Gua'uld did. And that's not it's not an uncommon trope to see that all of the ancient gods were actually alien races that we're visiting.
Right.
Yep.
That gets done a
Well, and
lot.
a lot of times it's based on, because of their aging being very slow, humans comparatively breed very, very quickly. So we're actually a fairly good slave race for a lot of those kinds of things, because they can spit out lots of us, chew us up, wear us out, and we'll keep making more. So that comes up a lot. I mean, both in fantasy and in Alien Invasion, that's often a great reason that you attack human beings, because we're disposable.
But wouldn't robots be better than slaves?
Droids, no good. Never good.
We don't serve their kind.
They touch base on humans being slaves in Transformers too, in Dark Side of the Moon. He says the only resource we need is you, because we need somebody to rebuild, and we're not going to do it. So,
Are you talking about humans, or like from the alien perspective, or are we talking about like Facebook and stuff? Oh, sorry, we weren't supposed to go there. Well, anything that's free, you're the resource. They mine us for data. I'm just saying.
I hope your
It
computer's
was
the one
supposed
that
to be a
crashes
joke, and no
tonight.
one laughed.
I hope your computer's the one that crashes tonight.
Oh,
We're not talking about that place, all right? We will not talk about the area that's numbered. Bill, you don't know because you haven't been on a lot, but we talked about a certain place. And this computer started going haywire.
you just killed Nick.
Mm-hmm.
We told you
I'm
not to
just
talk
saying-
about it.
His handlers don't like when we talk about certain things. I'm just saying.
I really don't.
My handler's drunk from reading what I write, so I'm good for a little bit. It's like, man, this guy needs a
Can't take you
therapy.
anywhere, JR.
Anyway, I do like the idea interdimensional, but then I don't know that are they really aliens at that point, or just being like, I don't know where
They
you draw
ain't
the
from
line.
here.
They ain't from here, but is that the only
Still a
definition?
station,
For
as
alien?
far as I know.
Well,
I
they'd
tend
be
to-
alien to this dimension, and
Yeah,
they would
I-
look differently than us. And they kind of dove into that in the worst Indiana Jones movie,
Right.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I'm not
They
sure
were
that qualifies as
interdimensional
worse
aliens.
anymore.
So yeah, so okay, so my thinking of aliens is from our galaxy, from our dimension, even, right? Of life from other planets. Sentient or otherwise is not a requirement for it to be alien life. We find amoebas, it's alien life. That
Well,
said,
that was the whole point of the Andromeda strain, was that the most likely alien species that we'll be exposed to first will be at the microbe level.
I believe
It'll
that.
be a virus or a bacteria. It's probably not going to be something with more legs than we have.
Who did we lose? Oh, Jana.
We lost Jenna. I started counting.
So,
I will
but
say this though, really quick, on your thoughts on interdimensional and if we would know if they're aliens or not. Take into account that they're saying that all of us that remember things one way before the super collider got turned on, and everybody else who remembers things different after the super collider got turned on, the whole Mandela effect and everything, they're saying that two dimensions merged into one, and you know, I mean, look at some of the people in the world.
So let me ask you this. If humans, by every definition that is exactly the same as us, down to the molecular level, but they come through an interdimensional divide, are they humans or are they aliens? Because by that definition, you're saying they're still aliens then. I would say they're still humans.
Well, I think you can look at two things. You can look at their biology or you can look at their psychology. So psychologically, they can think very differently than we do.
Yeah.
So
Michael McDowell did a series called Alternatives, which was like that interdimensional. It's like the multiverse theory writ large, where people were finding ways to different versions of Earth, and some of them were using it to steal people to commit crimes and other things. But yeah, and the psychology from world to world, like you say, it was very different for some of them.
I don't know. Like, I would think. I don't know, that's a hard question. So let's define alien then. I didn't think we had to do that, but so let's everybody give what they think a definition of an alien is. See if we can come to a consensus. Quick, agree before Janet comes back. Her computer's rebooting.
I would say biological and physical.
So biologically and physically different from humans, or from different place than humans?
A different place than humans. Something with a completely different genetic structure.
Different evolutionary past, everything.
So a human that had the same evolutionary past as Earth in a mirror dimension that's genetically the exact same as us, by that definition, is then not an alien, correct?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Well, if we look at something like Guardians of the Galaxy, technically we all see Star-Lord as human because he was born and raised on Earth before he was, kidnapped and took off into space, but he was actually the son of Ego. So he was
well, that would, by definition, then he would be biologically different.
But you wouldn't know he was biologically different if they didn't tell us he was biologically different, because he believed he was human all the way up till that point.
There's no argument there.
How would you know?
Sure, he was definitely alien.
How would you know if they're alien or human if they look just like a human?
We give them the great test. Did you know we actually have a scientific test to determine who the aliens among us are? Have you heard about this? We put pineapple on pizza, and if they like it, definitely alien. True story. That's how they know.
To your leader.
Well, that would work.
All right. So we were talking about the definition of what it is to be an alien, Jana. So LaVoice, you were saying what's your definition?
For me, it's biologically and physically and psychologically not from Earth, and that covers multidimensional as well.
So it could be human in all forms on a genetic, like you could look at it, test it in the lab, and you wouldn't know, but the minute it's from a different dimension, it's alien.
Now, see, that you mentioned that a minute ago, and Bill, kind of conceded that point, and I guess I have to as well. If there's no genetic difference, then you'd have to consider that human, even though it's from another dimension.
Because we have different cultures on Earth that would be different than us.
Yeah, but we can still interbreed.
And they would be considered alien to another person outside of that culture. So you got to think about the name.
So
the word itself, alien.
If interbreeding is part of the requirement, then paranormal romance has just opened the door on what counts now, because there are people that make a killing off of speculating about blue shirt skin man or blue skin man.
Captain Kirk was doing it a long time before PNR became.
Amen.
Look, he was just
spreading among the stars, spreading his wild oats.
Space seed. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Clapping space cheeks.
So, Isaac, do you have a definition of what you think alien is?
Generally, not from Earth. I would think they can look and act human. They can be sensible, and they can adopt our culture. But if they're not from Earth, if they're not from around here, then they're an alien.
All right, so let me ask you this. Elon Musk, in 50 years, we have a colony on Mars. First person born there, is he now an alien because he's not from Earth?
He's officially a Martian if he's born on Mars.
All right, Marvin and Martian it is. All right, so you're consistent. I like that. All right, Nick and Stabby, you can go in whatever order you have to unmute yourself. But what's your take?
Go ahead, hon.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
So what do you think is your definition that you operate from of what an alien is?
I think it's something that's foreign to us, whether it's an international border or a interplanetary border, or it's whatever. Because they used to say it quite a bit back in the day. It's like they spoke in a way that was alien to us when they were introduced to different cultures, different religions, things like that. So I think the word as a whole, alien, it just has so many. It does have many meanings to it, because I tried to look it up on dictionary.com and there's like 15 things of what alien means. Yeah, because I think it's something that's their language, their culture, even their appearance is something that is foreign or alien to us. And I think those two words are kind of, synonymous with each other. So that's kind of like that's how I view aliens. Going back to one of the other questions, like why would they come here? And we talked about a lot of stuff, but I think a lot of I deal with this in the Apogee universe, is that the ancient gods originally were aliens that got kicked out of their home world, and they got here and they're like, oh man, we're all powerful here. So it'd be like a bunch of Kryptonians almost, and that's where we start getting these different gods. And then later on, I introduce why all these aliens are showing up here, because they're refugees. Their home planets were ravaged or eradicated by a particular villain that will be named later. Actually, he has a name now. I just don't want to spoil shit. But, so we had all these refugees show up here, because it was a planet that they could live on with very minimal adjustments to their physiology.
Okay. I know in some series, because you start getting humans in multiple planets, they started referring to humans not from their planet as outlanders, because they weren't alien. And then that was a distinction I've seen used a lot in some of the classic space opera sci-fi. I like that distinguishing, because then, it's not an alien if they're from Mars, but there definitely would be like outlanders or Martians or whatever.
Well, and you can see that in the Star Wars universe, because you got humanoid creatures that look human on Tatooine, Coruscant, things like that. And then you have another brand of, you got the Wookiees on Kashyyyk that are humanoid looking. They have opposable thumbs, they walk upright. So it's, I don't know, you can really get into the weeds with the classification of what is alien.
Xenobiologists would love it. All right, Stabby, your definition, rock and roll.
Any person, creature, or in-between amoeba that is not from our dimension or our planet. That's all it is. If you are not from here, and you are not, because I can't even bring psychology into it, because let's face it, psychology these days especially is whack. Whack. Like, if anybody came down here, they'd be like, oh, so which ones are the humans? Because everybody's psychology is all over the freaking place. We may think one way, and the guy next door, he might think that he's a sheep. I don't know, because I don't know my neighbors, but he might. So is his psychology, human, or is my psychology human? So I don't think we can actually even really bring psychology into it. I think what it is anybody that's not directly from our dimension, our planet, is alien.
So by your definition, humans that are pure human, no other deviation, that are from a different dimension or different planet are aliens to you.
Yes. Even if they look just like us and we can copulate and make babies, I still have that thought process. And they touch base in it in so many things. Like, I did bring up the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, because Ego did come down here. He looked like a human. She thought he was a human. they had a baby that they thought was a human until he was 30 something years old. And he found out he's not. You have, Luke, Leia, freaking Han. They all look human, but they're not from Earth. So are they human or are they alien? I don't think we can just take it straight off of what somebody looks like.
Okay.
And their psychology seems perfectly human too. Like, honestly, Han shoots first, asks questions later, and that's like the entire American military.
So while you ponder what it means to be an alien, and you can tell us in the comment section, or you can email us, reach out on all our social medias, we're going to pause for a moment while we shamelessly shill for the man. Boom.
Across 1,000 battlefields and 1,000,000 wars, there is always a question. What do you do when all the chips are on the table? Do you run? Try to find salvation in the arms of an easy peace? Or do you stand and fight and send your enemies into whatever hole they crawled out of? On Deadly Ground, a heroic Last Stand anthology, has 10 stories addressing that question. Each character faces the impossible in different ways, but all will be tested before the day is done. Can they earn a heroic victory amongst the endless eternity of space, or are they doomed to fall into obscurity?
Thank you for sticking with us through that commercial interlude. I figured a book about aliens was kind of on point. All right. So first off, that deviation from where I intended to go is all Isaac's fault, but it's okay because we like him, even if he is a lizard person. Okay. So we're back to talking about aliens. So we've kind of defined what an alien is. We got into the weeds a little bit with the interdimensional stuff, but let's say aliens do come here. Do you think we stand a chance in heck in overcoming?
I think it depends on the alien.
Yeah. I'm with Bill. Depends on what they want. Also, it depends on, just because they've achieved interstellar flight doesn't necessarily mean that they're technologically advanced in other ways. You saw War of the Worlds. Those guys are wiped out by a virus. Then I've seen other stories where the aliens achieve starflight and they get here, but humans are basically space orcs and we kill them and maybe eat them. So, it could go both ways. It just depends on their tech level. A lot of people do make the assumption that interstellar flight trumps everything, and it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah, you want a more balanced tech tree to be well-rounded. Sometimes, like anybody that plays Civilization knows, you can push one tree all the way to the max and still lose if your farmers aren't farming or whatever the case may be. Yep. Well-balanced will get you there. Okay.
Well, and if we're using firearms, they're using Bioshock, and they're like, what kind of creatures use fire? Fire's dangerous. Well, we like fire. We play with it from the time that we are children because we can't help ourselves. We like our food burned. We like all of those things. We developed combustion engines and things like that. Who says that's the tree that they took? And fire innately makes you dangerous in a way that maybe some other things aren't. So do we stand a chance? Every story has the plucky humans that come up with a way. And we do tend to be stupidly resilient, sometimes with an emphasis on the stupid. So we're very hard to squash. We're space roaches.
We have seen that with just the U.S. Army in World War II with some of the creations that people had to clear the hedges. Like some random Joe private's like, oh, I got this, and said, I've plowed snow. It can't be that different. And from that concept, they made the hedge cutters, essentially. Mm-hmm. Overly simplified, I know. Don't come at me, people.
I think it does depend on the alien, because if we're talking xenomorphs or predators or something like that, we're so screwed. We're so screwed. They're acid blood and they're cloaks of invisibility. We really are.
Come on, Arnold will save us.
Arnold.
But him and Sebastian we've got all the old guys who will save us from the aliens, right?
But like,
I'll
if
try.
it's the alien, but if it's the aliens from like Arrival, all they wanted to do was come and teach us something, so that way 3,000 years down the road we can help them with something.
No, they wanted to play Interstellar Scrabble. That's what they did.
Okay. So
I think it depends on what type of alien we're talking. If it's Paul, I'm totally eating marshmallows and getting high with him, though. I'm just saying.
I think we're skipping entirely over the second word of this topic, and that is invasion. That has a definite military connotation. There's no other way around it. It's definitely hostile in nature. So if we're discussing alien invasion, they're not here to play Interstellar Scrabble, or, okay, they might be here to steal our women, but the point is it's violent and it is invasive. That's the whole point. So do we have defenses against that? Probably. Are they effective? Maybe. Just depends on, again, tech level and how long they've been doing this. I'm working on a series now where we're a food source, basically. That's what these guys are doing. They're eating us and making more of themselves. And then I've got another alien invasion series where they are after some resources, but we're not a food source. We're a labor source. So yeah, there's a different spin on it, but it still begins with violent invasion and wiping out military assets that we have.
Yeah. So I think it, if it's an actual invasion, the first strike would be definitive, because if they're coming to put boots on ground for whatever reason, we got a chance, I think. If they're just like, damn the torpedoes, bomb it from orbit, or whatever the expression was. Nuke it from orbit, so to be sure. Yeah. I don't think we stand a chance in hell.
But even if they do put boots on the ground, that is a lot of boots to put on the ground. If you look at the size of a planet, how many troops it would take to conquer and occupy it, it's phenomenal. And I don't think people get that scale.
I think because a lot of people are exposed to science fiction, most of the people that are exposed to it are on television. So, of course, you've got a village that doesn't even have enough people to support genetic diversity, let alone, require more than 10 men to occupy it. And I think most of that's a budgetary reason. They make plot reasons to make it work, but mostly they just, budgets are a thing. And I think it kind of warps perspective of what that might look like.
I look at it from an infantry officer or just an infantryman's point of view. There's 7.5, I guess maybe we'll just call it 8 billion people on this planet. And you want a 3-to-1 ratio when you want to get, squarely and start a fight. So you're going to need 24 billion people or aliens to come over here and get squirrely.
And then you got to feed them.
And then you got to feed them. So it's definitely a resource issue. It's beans and bullets. Bullets don't fly without supplies. Whatever, poke. But yeah, it's a lot of people you got to feed, and then you put them on the ground. Can this planet sustain 24 billion extra people as they're trying to kick our ass? And if it's resources they don't want to nuke it from orbit, because that could disrupt what they want. Most likely it's going to be minerals, water, things like that. And even though it's mostly salt water, they're still going to have to run it through a process of desalinization, blah, blah, blah. So, logistically, it would be a freaking nightmare. I don't want to be the XO on that mothership. He'd lose his damn mind. I'm just thinking about it, and I'm getting pissed.
Well, I mean, you don't need that many living beings if they have robot armies to fight with them, because then they're not draining they're draining resources differently, but they're not consuming like food.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could take over this planet with an army of alien robots, and then you don't know what their alloys. Let's say it's an alloy that's not on the periodic table that somehow is affected drastically by like salt water or just moisture in the air. Then it's rust, and you have maintenance issues. It's still going to be a pain in the dick. I think diplomacy, the logistics alone pissed me off as a former XO. Because that was my job as an XO, was beans and bullets, making sure everybody gets what they need. And I always had some troop bitching about something like, hey, sir, like the fog messes with my night vision goggles. And I'm like, well, then don't use them. He's like, yeah, but I need to be able to see in the dark. Do you? I don't know.
All right. So,
IR, which is also going to fail in the fog.
Not everybody in the party needs dark vision.
exactly.
That's true.
Right.
Just the leadership.
Yeah.
All right. So Jana and Terry have been a little bit on the quiet side tonight. So you want to weigh in?
I personally think that it's more likely that if aliens invading, they're coming to eliminate us as competition. Because let's face it, humans are colonizers. That's what we've been doing for millennia by now. So if you had that kind of situation, I've always described the theory that we are the space Klingons. We're just not in space yet. So if you want to eliminate something like that, just nuke the planet. You're done. Poof, gone.
See, my problem with Klingons is I don't find them a very good example, only because for Klingons, supposedly this great fearsome warrior race, got their butt kicked by every 2-ton, 2-foot midget in the galaxy on these various ships.
Romulans used to mop the floor with them.
Like they were more like the special bus kind of aliens for the galaxy was my take on them, because they were just getting their butt handed to them left, right, and center.
Was it because of the
Yeah,
foreheads?
still the stereotype is
Of
there.
the foreheads.
Well, they use.
No, I mean, I don't even care about the foreheads. They just weren't that good at fighting for a warrior race. I just was kind of disappointed. But
That actually just strengthens my
what they're
point.
up against.
yeah, so maybe they do have a chance.
The
Get rid of the
Romulans were
humans.
scarier to me than the Klingons. The Romulans were just terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about you, Jana? Thoughts on alien invasions?
Yeah. Again, you have to. There's a big suspension of disbelief thing. Well, one of my very favorite Calvin and Hobbes comics says the proof that there's intelligent life in the universe is that it's never tried to contact us. And Calvin's kind of got a point there that's probably the best proof is that they want nothing to do with us.
The short bus.
Yeah, but if they are going to invade, there's going to be purpose behind it. And in media, it's always about us as a resource because we are the center of our own little universe, and those are the stories we want to read. And so we want to read about that interaction, that first contact between them and us, whether that's, we're going to save the day because it's Independence Day and we're being invaded, or whatever the case may be. So I think it makes for really great stories. I think logistically, like Nick says, would it ever really happen? Probably not, because the effort that it takes to take over another planet sucks. But they would come after us either because we're in their way or they want what we've got, and then shenanigans ensue.
So you're subscribing to the intergalactic highway, clearing Earth out of the way?
Yeah.
You got to build
Get us out of
bypasses.
the road. Or, Independence Day, they were like locusts. And he says they just go from planet to planet, suck up what they want, and keep going. And then you get around a lot of mixed things about, how many boots on the ground, how many this, that, and the other. You don't. You blow through what's there, you take what you want, and you keep on moving. I think that kind of scenario is a lot more likely than wanting to, invade and stay.
Let's kick it old school. Pardon me, Marconi, but why do you want to blow up the Earth? Oh, it obstructs my view of Venus. Okay?
Exactly.
Something as stupid simple as that. And we're done.
E32 space modulator.
That's right.
With an earth-shattering kaboom.
Where's the kaboom?
Where is the kaboom? I want the kaboom.
So
Thinking on it
Yeah,
though,
shattering kaboom.
no earth-shattering kaboom. If if human beings are the threat and all they want to do is grab resources, and I just thought about this when Jana was talking, like I kind of take back my position on the logistical nightmare, because I don't think it needs to be that way. We're such fragile creatures that if you just disrupt the oxygen nitrogen mix that we use to breathe, you could kill the threat right there and then just take the resources and no one's going to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
if you're just looking to take out competition and you're not trying to get resources off of Earth because, again, you can get them otherwhere in the galaxy, you could destroy life on Earth and just blow up the moon.
Or
Without
just
the
up
moon,
asteroids.
or send asteroids, rods from God, something like that. But just without the moon, you lose the tilt that gives us livable climate that we're dead in a generation early.
You got a couple space bugs that have thrown meteorites from Clodatho.
Mhm.
You know,
Only good bug is dead bug.
the only good
And we're
bug
most
is a dead bug.
dangerous when we have time to react, because that was one of those. Because Independence Day, they disrupt the satellite internet, and so we see things coming. Then they come and hover. They do their first blast, and then they wait for a long time until everybody else gets where they're supposed to get. This gives us time to react, and in a lot of the stories, it works that way. We get an initial bloody nose, something happens, and now we know the aliens are there. And then, and for any aliens that are listening, I'm not giving you suggestions. However, if they would just keep pounding us at that point, they would probably be able to just take it out. The response that we tend to put together comes when we get a breathing moment, and then all your heroes and heroines put their heads together and come up with something that is creative, and that's where we win. It's always we need time, we come up with the thing, and we win. We're not so great at dodging that first punch.
Right. The pockets of resistance need to have time to form. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, and then there's an interesting one. I don't know, some of you are younger than me. How many folks watched V?
I did.
Because the idea there was we come in peace, all of those kinds of things, and then they turned it on us and wanted to eat us. And that was
the lizard people.
How that's a different kind of invasion, because we talk about, Mike says, it's got to be a violent thing, or is it a real subtle thing where they say, yes, we're coming to bring you peace and all of those kinds of things, and then they're not.
They came in under the veil of diplomacy. That's how they infiltrated. And they infiltrated us politically, society-wise, in all aspects. We're going to share our tech with you. And they're sharing like their pinball machine. But for us, we're like, oh, that's the most amazing thing ever. And they got in with the politics. They got the politicians on their side, which I'm pretty sure lizard people are already running our politics. But that's just me and my crazy tinfoil hat. But they were so systematic in how they handled us, and only a few people actually kind of didn't drink the Kool-Aid, if you will. They're like, man, there's something off about these people, And it was a great series. It was one of my favorite ones as a kid. Made me a huge fan of Robert Englund, and then I found out he was Freddy Krueger, who was also the basis of my nightmares for many years. So I had like this weird little dichotomy going on in my head.
Here you go. Hear me out, though. Another take on that could be they show up and they offer to do all of our manual labor for us, therefore freeing us to go to the next level intellectually. Then they turn on us.
Why they eat us?
Reality.
We're fat and lazy.
We'd be dead in a week.
Because we're well marbled as humans, at least in America.
So basically, you're describing a situation where it is, what the American government did to the Native American tribes, and tainted blankets essentially would work. We come in peace, and then
okay. I'm gonna die on this hill. You really think in the 1860s we had a knowledge of biowarfare?
I don't think it's required that they knew it at the time. The fact is that exposure to pathogens they weren't prepared for caused problems.
I don't think it was deliberate. I don't think they had enough knowledge to be like, oh yeah, get the blankets and added the whatever was killing them. Go to the barn that has the scarlet fever blankets and then pass those on.
I don't think that's required. The analogy is just that exposure to pathogens under the guise of peace. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit for what happened in history. I wasn't trying to go down that road because we're here to talk.
That's a whole other episode.
Not politics. Having said that, I do think, that is, it goes both ways though. We could potentially damage the aliens with our germs too.
Well, we saw that in War of the Worlds and Signs.
Let's be honest. It would be Marines and venereal disease. It would be,
yeah, space syphilis.
So, Bill, as the resident
Marines have it.
Marine, as the resident Marine, Bill, do you have something to say?
Well, no. I think it all just depends on what they want. I mean, and how many they've got. Everything's going to dictate tactics. So it's like if they're going to invade, what do they want and what are their resources? So if they want something specific and they're minimal resources, they might have to go, be sneaky like in V. Or if they have plenty of resources, they can come in like Independence Day. So it's all, dependent, situational dependent. What do they want? And how much do they have logistically?
So to touch base on what LaVoice was saying about them coming in and being nice and then killing us, let's not forget about the gacks from Mars Attacks, because they came down and they're like, we come in peace. Pew! So just saying, there's always that. I will say it was fun watching
them with music. It was great.
It was fun watching them destroy my hometown. That was fun. Gotta love watching, the showboat and the sands and the dunes come crashing down. So, but yeah, it's just.
Okay, but I mean, if it gets us the spice, is it worth the loss of life? I'm just saying. Something to think about, people. Do you think there's, we obviously the chat today is about alien invasions. Could you foresee any scenario where they genuinely come in peace?
If they were
religious reasons, yeah.
Refugees.
Like
they needed
environmental.
Yeah, like Alien Nation or District 9, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, refugees. But I'd like to think in more like Star Trek terms, like you have warp drive capabilities, you have something that can be added to the collective zeitgeist or knowledge in exploring the universe and having the understanding of what being a humanoid is being a humanoid. I really like that idea that there are aliens out there that are more about science and exploration and how to better yourself as a species. And that benefits all species around it that have that type of technology, then we're coming here to steal your salt water. I'm like, dude, we don't even drink that shit. Take it. It's like, I'm over here drinking Crystal Geyser, bro. I got a well. Like you just want my salt water? I guess you like taffy. I don't know, man. Take it. But if they want to eat me, that's where I draw the line.
But if they do take the salt water, that means they're actually taking the fresh water too because of the water cycle. So you really don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. I live on property that has a well, and I've had to learn about the water cycle or revisit the water cycle since 8th grade. I'm like, oh shit, why is this well not working?
Yes, but will the aliens like coffee?
Was it, Jenny?
Like Terry said, as a species, humans tend to be expanders. I mean, we talk about alien invasion. We are the alien invasion in a lot of these stories. We're the one that go out and we kick around in their backyard, and then we get mad when they kick back because we're like that. And so in a peaceful way, I could also see a race looking at us and going, they are going to expand like weeds across the galaxy. We need to kind of direct and keep them on their side of the fence. What are the planets that we don't want? Send them there. And that way they're evolved enough, or whatever we want to call it, to say we're fine with them becoming a bigger person in the universe, with them evolving as well. But let's kind of control this a little bit, because otherwise we do have a tendency to just go, everything's mine. We are all 3-year-olds at heart. And it would be, let's peacefully help you to become a member of the universal society without stepping on everybody's toes.
You got to think that was the deal in Star Trek, right? Because as soon as we develop the warp drive, who steps in, right? Okay, so they can actually do this now. This needs to be addressed. I took the opposite tack in Galaxy's Most Wanted. I had secret alien tech on the Earth the whole time that was being released in dribs and drabs by governments. And then my main character decides to release it all at once. And all of a sudden, because of a few billionaires out there, humans they're just flinging themselves into the stars, man. we're going for it. So yeah, I like both scenarios, actually. I think there's advantages for storytelling purposes to both scenarios. Being invited into the space club because you reach a certain level, that's kind of nice. It means we're actually doing things well. But I think the more fun and probably more likely scenario is that we will just fling ourselves out there as soon as we can. There goes the neighborhood.
I think we would too. Like following the Star Trek model. This is just me thinking. This is my own headcanon. The reason the other aliens came here after we did warp drive is there had to have been recon. You know, you got to recon something before you want to do anything to it. And human beings are very adaptable. We'll go out to the desert where there's very minimal water, and we will live. Not exactly thrive, but we can survive in those environments. So I look at us as like how the aliens would look at us. We're space cockroaches. You can't kill them, you know. So we might as well make friends with them, or kind of defer them to other places so they're not in my way. Yeah. So I think that's very interesting.
We have missed one obvious scenario. We've always assumed the first contact happens or in the invasion happens on Earth. What if we get to Mars, for instance, or anywhere else? What if we get to Mars or anywhere else, and that's where the first contact happens? Because that changes the dynamics as well.
I knew it.
Someone forgot to turn their filter on.
Someone's unfortunately getting probed later.
All right, so yeah, I do think it changes the game if the invasion or first contact happens on another planet.
Well, but it's
maybe
still
just
in what way though? In what way? I mean,
all of us. Go ahead.
I'm just saying the series I'm writing now. The premise is that we've never run across aliens, not even evidence of aliens. It was the paradox writ large. And now all of a sudden they show up on the fringes of human occupied space and start attacking. So are you saying that doesn't really count as an invasion?
No, I'm saying that depending on the level of if we're just stepping out dipping our toe into the water, so to speak, and we've got a very primitive colony on Mars or whatever, like logistics, all of that changes entirely because we couldn't put up much of a fight. Right. So, I mean, it's different if we've got a robust population on a planet that is habitual, if we can live on it, right? If it's friendly to our life, it's totally different if we're on Mars living in domed cities because we can't walk outside. And at that point, a couple of shots through the domes and the invasion looks a lot different.
I mean, it could work just as if we started colonizing Mars because it's still planetary. I mean, it's a moon, but we left our planet and colonized another. Help me out.
Body?
I need a word.
Is it invasion or war?
But yeah, that's the question. Is it going to be invasion or is it going to be a war? Like, why are we leaving our home planet? Because they may have left their home planet because it was ravaged by war, disease, famine, whatever. Or they left their planet because conquest,
Well, from the human side, the Expanse told us it was space Mormons, so they just wanted to leave.
They built temples.
I don't know.
It's true.
If we land on Mars,
badass.
If we land on Mars and we kick the robots that are left there, are we now conquering heroes? Because technically, it's a planet occupied by robots.
History's written.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. JR was like, we got to fight the robots first.
Right.
We sat there.
Okay. Well, I promised you guys that we would try to keep this one tighter than we normally do, but I don't want to cut anybody off if they got more to say. So we don't want to kick the dead horse.
I've said all the dumb shit I'm going to say.
Really? Okay.
Well, for tonight.
If we want to do a 4-hour one, we could totally do that, and I'll just drink more and come up with more nonsense.
I could throw one more out there for the more pleasant invasion. It could just be that they're environmentally conscious of different planets, and they come in here into Earth and say, "Hey, bozos, do you realize you're fucking up you're screwing up your planet?"
I got a banner for
I don't know
that.
why they're Scottish, but they are.
My ancestors approve. As long as the English are losing.
There you go.
All right.
My bad.
Okay.
It's all right.
Well,
Nick
well,
dropped an F-bomb
if you've
earlier
got-
and nobody caught it.
If you've got something
That's
to
because
say,
it was subtle.
all
You're
right.
as subtle as a chainsaw. Please.
That's true.
I will say this, one of my favorite alien invasion movies is probably not what anybody expects, but Pixels
More flakes. Say the movie.
Pixels was one of my favorite. They thought
I like
that
Pickles.
the
Pickles
world
is good.
championship of video games was an act of war. And they sent down Hubert and Frogger, Pac-Man.
I love Hubert in that movie.
And they invaded us with our own video game.
In 8-bit.
In 8-bit.
Okay,
And I think
I have
that
not seen that movie.
Oh man, you got to see Pixels. It's great.
It's so much fun.
Dinklage in it. Adam Sandler. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, the last Starfighter for video games and Alien Connections is absolutely right, Jana. I want to play that video game.
Awesome.
There's a fan who designed that game, and you can buy the from them. You can get the program and build your own like arcade, and you could play it too. But I don't know if we get a Starfighter when we win.
Greetings, Starfighter.
So, does anyone else have anything to add? Otherwise, we'll start the wrap up. All right, so Jana,
I love the alien invasions.
absolutely. So, so what are you writing right now?
Oh, currently I'm writing under that other pen name, and so I'm writing a billionaire romance. But in the science fiction universe, I am working on a aliens showed up and were rescued by other aliens who then want to make us part of their empire. So I do have a science fiction book that I'm working on that's right along here. And I'm going to put a plug in for Space is the Place, edited by Robert J. Medenhall. That is the young adult science fiction anthology that I was just in. And it is awesome fun. It's teenagers in outer space, and all of the proceeds go to St. Jude. So I will pitch it anywhere that I can because that's a highly worthy cause.
That's my employer.
Yes, it is. So highly worthy cause. But that's what I'm working on.
Okay. All right. Since you're been bought and paid by Jana, apparently, Michael, what are you working on?
You can't buy that, man. That donations are awesome. St. Jude lives and dies by those. But no, I'm working on a series right now called Gladius Leagues. I said a little bit about it earlier. Mankind is spread out among the stars, never found aliens. Fermi's paradox is everywhere. And we've ended warfare in our time through proxy warfare with the leagues, powered armor, settling disputes between governments out on the stadium and the arena. And then all of a sudden, aliens show up and start killing everyone. And the only line of defense we have are a bunch of prima donna warrior athletes who are like a mix of the WWE and the NFL.
Okay. Bill, what are you writing at the moment?
Multiple projects. I've ADHD. I work on different things, but I've got The Last Marines. I'm working on the next 4 books for that, and then also a fantasy series, and then 3 or 4 other series in the cracks.
Will your female dwarfs have beards? This is an important question.
Yes, yes, they do. And I've got a great joke, but this is a polite company.
You're taking an SFW hit already.
All right, Isaac.
There's a quote from one of the dwarves, and he says, "Buy my mother's other beard." Do the math.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I like the way you think.
Yeah, he's like Stathis. If you know Stathis, he's got a sense of humor.
The other beard of the whispering eye.
All right, Isaac, try to save us from ourselves, Mr. Lizard Man.
Yeah, I'm working on a young adult novel. It's currently at 53,000 words. Working through the middle parts. First and ending are done for the most part.
So what's your end goal for word count? You going for 80, 100? You going for Brandon Sanderson and writing the dictionary?
If it gets to 60 or 70, then okay. But for the most part, I'm just trying to get through it and then send it on to a beta reader.
Okay. All right, Terry, what are you narrating and what are you writing?
Currently, I am narrating 2 urban fantasy books, one a little faster than the other one. And then for writing, I'm currently outlining the 3rd book of my first fantasy series.
Nice. All right, Nick, what are you drawing today?
Today, I'm probably doing some character concept creation. Currently drawing the 2nd issue of Phantom Hawk Resolute, and I am laying out the panels for Corvid and Sparrow #1.
Okay. And Stabby, since you're not writing anything that we know of, what are you reading?
What am I reading?
Yes.
Probably one of
I mean,
Pippin's.
I wouldn't want to read your journal. That's a dark and dangerous place.
Actually, my journal is full of unicorns and rainbows. I say all the dark things out loud. But no, I actually I finally got the living room completely unpacked. So I have the Voices book, I have Pittman's book, I have Jana's book. And I also ordered myself the last book in another series, but we want to keep that SFW for a while. So yeah, I ordered the last book of one of my smut series, and I've been waiting for this book for like 6 years, so I really need to actually read it now that I purchased it. So that's
Okay.
what I'm reading.
And I
I
am,
have a lot of different things all over the house.
You know,
And I
Stabby, all 4 of my books have been released into the wild now, so you catch up.
I have whatever Nick buys me, okay? So if it comes in the mail, it will get read. The only reason Janice didn't come in the mail is because she sent it straight to my tablet.
Nice. So
I know how to get to her heart.
that's nice. So I am working on edits for the first 2 books in the Curse Brigade trilogy that James and I were writing. And then with our notes, I will finish the 3rd in the series. And then as far as when it gets out, like we're going to spend a little bit extra time on the editing phase because we want to make it sing. It was one of the last things he was working on with me. So I just want to make it as good as possible so it can make as much as possible so his wife can get the royalties. So I understand that hospital bills aren't cheap. I got a little spoiled growing up a military brat and then going into the VA system where as bad as it is, at least I don't pay for it. So for those on the outside who get those bills from people like Michael LaVoice, I'm joking, Michael. Yeah, every little bit we can do to help. So that's where I'm at. And with that, we're going to let everyone tell them where they can find them on the wild, wild interwebs. So Terry, where can they stalk you? I mean, find you.
I'm usually, if I'm anywhere, on the Facebook, posting memes, occasionally pictures of cats. Depends on the day.
Okay. All right, William, where can they find you on the wild, wild webs? And as usual, everything will be linked in the show notes.
So for me, usually it's Facebook, William S. Frisbee. I also have a website, William S. Frisbee. Twitter, just plug it in. Frisbee's a very unique name.
It is. I don't know that there's many of you. All right, Isaac, where can they find you on the wild, wild webs?
I'm mainly on Facebook. I've got a Amazon author page as a craft. There usually aren't too many Isaac Crafts that are authors.
Okay.
But I'm mainly on Facebook.
Outstanding. All right, Jana, where can they stalk you?
Well, if they really, really want to, they can wander on over to opalkingdompress.com and they can find my many faces there, or catch me on Facebook or on YouTube. YouTube, I cast as the Geek Girls Academy. We talk about publishing. And over on Facebook, you can find me under Jan S. Brown Writes or under Jenna Ray. I'm on all the things.
All right. So before I tell you where you can find us, and you probably already know because you're listening, but just in case, before I tell you that, this is the part where I remind you to please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers find the right books. And that is especially true with independent and small presses because it helps the algorithms. It helps them tell the machines that run us over at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all the places. It tells them to show people your book because people like it. So do your part, people. We really appreciate it. With that being said, you can find us on our Linktree, linktr.ee, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast. Again, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast, where we link to all the things, the BitChutes, the Rumbles, the YouTubes, the Twitters, our email, Blasters and Blades Podcast at gmail.com. Again, Blasters and Blades Podcast at gmail.com. For professional purposes only, people, we have a Facebook group and Facebook page. And most importantly, we have Madam Stabby Stab over on Instagram, Twitter, and her email for all that content. Send it her way. And if you really are curious about what smut she was reading, you can talk to her there offline. That won't mess with our
We
rating.
also have a TikTok now, too.
Oh, and we have a Discord channel. I am working on getting someone to help me make it work. So we have a delineation for authors that come in so they can get on the booking side and you know, all of that, scheduling. And then for fans that just want to talk about the episodes, discuss the various topics, nerd out over whatever books they're reading, and just really would like to build a community because I don't like being entirely reliant on Facebook. If we can come up with alternatives where we can have a little bit of control, that's why we're on all the platforms and why we diversified off of just YouTube. So I will work on that, and I will be seeing what I can get. And Nick should be getting the merch up soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. Point of order, though. That next thing that's going to be in the merch is, did we really skip LaVoice?
It's fine, dude.
That'll be a shirt.
No,
I'm just saying.
Did I not ask you, LaVoice?
No, you
No,
didn't.
you
That's not a
bypassed
lot.
him like Compton on the 5, man. It was
I don't know.
awesome and funny,
what 5 is.
but also kind of.
All right, LaVoice. How can
Okay.
they find you?
Well, I'm kind of a big guy. I show up on satellite photos, but if they want to find me on the web, it's michaellavoice.com, and or you can find me on XTwit at that Michael LaVoice, or on Facebook as that Michael LaVoice, because there's apparently a bunch of us. And as far as personal, I'm starting to run around the con circuit, so keep your eyes peeled. You may see me at a con soon.
He will con you out of your money as he sells you his books. Bada boom.
Yeah, and you can find him with that hair.
We need a sound effects bar so I could do like the drum, hit the hat, whatever, the cymbal. Yeah, we need a soundboard. That is our next learning tree that we need to unlock. All right,
I'm going to look into that.
Please do. All right. You can also find us on our website at anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades. Again, anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades, where for as little as 99 cents a month, you can help keep the lights on. These episodes aren't free to produce, and we appreciate your patronage. You could also patronize. You can also support us by buying the merch that Nick will be working on, or supporting us more directly at buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment section of this for the podcast, and I promise I will keep my co-hosts duly caffeinated. They will drink all the coffee brand coffee that they can ship in one Connex box, because Stabby will drink that in a week and ask for more. All right, and with that, thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy co-host, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time, where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. All right, boom was kind of appropriate for alien invasions as a topic, but everybody, Isaac, William, Jenna, Michael, Terry, Jenna's other profiles that I don't remember.
All y'all.
All of y'all. Thank you for coming. All right, and with that, I'm going to hit the end button. Wait for